roster building, Brad Holmes has a bold plan.
It's LeGarrette Blount here, man, 3-time Super Bowl champion. I just want to give you a shout out to the YouTube channel, MicroMike, man.
Eddie Murray, former Detroit Lion. Make sure you watch MicroMike on YouTube.
Calvin Johnson Jr. here, aka Megatron. Big shout out to MicroMike and YouTube channel, man.
Keep on talking everything Detroit Lions, and I just got to remind you, man, happy wife, happy life.
What is going on, YouTube, and welcome to Detroit Lions Talk with MicroMike. We took all things Detroit Lions news, rumors, analysis, breakdown, and everything regarding our franchise. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how Brad Holmes, in the interview process, stated he had a bold plan for the Detroit Lions roster. Yes, I am very much intrigued. I love bold plans. I love going the strategic route here, and I'm excited to talk about this. But before we get into this video, if you're not a subscriber, and over 50% of you are not, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button, trying to get to 12,000 subscribers. Also, hit that like button. Let's get to 200 likes in this video. I'm trying to get a reputation here of having over 200, and that would be fan-freaking-tastic. Let's get into this. An article by Pride of Detroit, go check it out, talks about how Brad Holmes has a bold plan to revolutionize the Detroit Lions roster. Went at the interview process for the Lions, and he had a strategic plan of how to reinvigorate the Lions roster. Per Albert Breer in his column, in fact, one big moment in the interview came when Holmes was asked about the Detroit Lions brass to go through each of the 4 GMs and 5 head coaches he's worked with and identify one thing he learned from each of them, and one thing he didn't and he would like to do differently than them. One by one, Holmes calmly, logically knocked those out, then gave a cutting, honest assessment of the Lions roster and a bold plan for what he would do if he landed the job. This Lions roster is in a world of hurt, and you're going to need an extreme bold plan to change it. Comment. Let me know in the comments section. Are you on board with an aggressive, bold plan regarding changing this roster? Y for yes, N for no. Let's get this into a forum and have fun talking about this. Brad Holmes is known to be an individual who can find great players in many rounds of the draft and hopefully find people out in free agency. But when we talk about bold, we're talking make big-time strategic moves for the Lions roster. Defense, atrocious. What is he going to do for a bold plan to revolutionize this defense? Will he get creative? Make some trades? Will he trade back? Will be extremely exciting in the NFL draft. In my opinion, that's what you're going to have to do. And we've seen from the Los Angeles Rams their ability to strike trades and make deals to help vigorate the roster that they currently had for that team. He comes from the Rams. They need to do the same thing here. Why? Because the Lions roster is filled with inept players who cannot be starters in a real football team. If you look at this defense, linebacking core, extremely poor. No doubt about it. Many players in this linebacking core, if not nearly all of them, wouldn't be starters on other teams. We're talking 0-16 level linebacking core. We have issues when it comes to the defensive line. The Detroit Lions need to get pass rushers. How can we acquire talent with only 5 draft picks? You're going to have a bold plan to do that. And we're talking trades here. I think, in my opinion, when I'm reading into this, there could be ways that Brad Holmes can make trades to acquire more draft picks. Maybe trade away players like a Jesse James. Trade away players, if you could, for a Desmond Trufant or other players currently on this roster to acquire capital to build a football team. It's going to take a bold plan, and it's going to take a strategic plan, and I'm excited to see it. When this whole process started out, I told my subscribers, no matter what occurs, this is not going to be boring. It's not going to be a boring offseason, and it's going to be full of excitement, whether you like it or not. It is not going to be a bland offseason. We're going to have a lot of moves made. We're going to have a lot of interesting roster turnover going forward, and I fully expect Brad Holmes to make trades regarding trading away players and or trading players to the Detroit Lions. When is this going to happen? Well, My expectations is when free agency or the NFL season restarts back up, he's going to look upon players who may have trade value. We have to acquire draft picks. Clearly, that's how you build a roster. Brad Holmes knows this. He has built the roster for the Los Angeles Rams. They weren't without many high draft picks because they traded for Jalen Ramsey. So they had to build their team via the draft. That is his plan, in my opinion, is to build through the draft. And we're going to have to acquire draft picks. Again, the Jesse James, maybe Jelani Tavai, maybe Justin Coleman. There's players there with value. Obviously, we could talk about Matthew Stafford, but every time I talk about the Matthew Stafford situation, you get the people that want him traded or the people that don't want him traded. All I know is I'm going to give you facts about Matthew Stafford. He has a bonus in mid-March, and if they don't trade him before mid-March, in my opinion, he's not getting traded, whether you want him or not. I'm just telling you facts here. His bonus after mid-March, the dead cap hit would be $29 million. $29 million, and they're not going to do a dead cap hit of that. Before that bonus, it would be $19 million. In my opinion, I do not believe he's going to get traded. Hit that like button. Why do you want to hit that like button? Well, the more likes that I get, the chance that the video gets out via YouTube algorithm. I'm going against the legacy media. They are juggernaut, and I am just one guy. Let's get this video out there, and let's be one pride together. The reason why I say this is because you got a young GM, a young head coach, and my expectations is they're going to keep Matthew Stafford. Will they draft a quarterback? That's for a different discussion. But we're talking about getting trade value. Jesse James, potentially you could get a 5th, 6th, or a 7th round draft pick for him. We'll take it all, whatever you can get. Justin Coleman, depending on who they bring back for the cornerback position. You could have a chance where Darryl Roberts, look, he did very well considering the circumstances this last offseason for the position where he was at. And he did a lot of spots where Coleman was at. You could trade Coleman and maybe get a 5th, a 6th round draft pick for him. Same with Desmond Trufant. You never know what you can do. But acquiring draft picks is how we're going to build the Detroit Lions roster the correct way. You build through the draft. Period. Now, you can pick up selected free agents, and that is definitely good to help fulfill depth chart of a team, but it's also difficult to get mainstream line starters from free agency because generally teams are not going to let the big-time players go. What about Kenny Galladay? Well, in my opinion, they could franchise tag Kenny Galladay. What if Kenny Galladay doesn't want to stay Detroit? Well, you can franchise him, work out a deal with him and another team, and trade him away. Trading with the franchise, he would have to accept the place where he would go. Maybe the Giants. But you can receive capital from that sense. That is a bold plan. Bold or go home. This roster is in a world of hurt. Period. We got to re-sign Romeo Okwara. We got to do things to really build this roster, and to me, Brad Holmes has a very strategic and aggressive plan to do so. It's important to change this roster from what it was to something much more improved. And it's going to take, in my opinion, more than 1 year, folks. This is a couple-year process to do so. Because of that, it may be bold in a sense where we may lose a good player this year, but they're trying to get draft capital to build for the future. That is also a strategic plan. We've seen that with the Miami Dolphins. We've seen that with the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's possible. It's very possible they do something like this. With that said, it would be hard for me to assume they're going to do a full-out give up in what the Miami Dolphins and the Jacksonville Jaguars did. I don't think we're that bad. I don't believe so. But it is important to understand these are bold strategies for what Brad Holmes can do. You need to read the article for Pride of Detroit. Very intriguing and very insightful, understanding the mind of a general manager and what he has. Whatever plan they decide to go with Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, I am on board with. I am fully on board with revolutionizing this roster, because this roster right now defensively specifically is not competitive at all via playoffs. Not at all. This is a bad defense. It's going to take a lot of tinkering to get done. So it's a multi-year process in my opinion. We may not be a good football team next year, but that's okay, because when you have a plan, you stick to the plan, you get the plan, and you go in the right direction. And I feel that Brad Holmes is willing to do so, and hopefully it works the correct way. We've been waiting for something to make a change in Detroit, to change the direction that this team has been in for the last 20 years. This can be it, and it may not be it. Either way, I'm a Detroit Lions fan, and I'm on board with every decision that Brad Holmes makes. It may hurt us initially, but if it's for the greater good, I am on board with that. In future videos, folks, we're going to be doing the One Pride podcast on Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a great show. Make sure you are there and have fun. On Friday, I got some free agent video coming out for the Detroit Lions. You want to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out.